Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic. Before we hop in, I want to remind everyone that if you want to pick up any of the cards from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, to check out Hairy Tarantula for all of your singles and sealed product. Pre-orders are available right now. Use my promo code CMDRMechanic to support the channel, and new users use CMDR5 for 5% off your order. We've recently received the full set list for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and people are hyped for it, myself included. This set looks gorgeous and includes a lot of cool, never-before-seen things, including the return of a few mechanics like ninjutsu and channel. So, as with each new set, I wanted to take a look and pick out my favorites that will help our format, and we as Commander players should be keeping our eyes on as we start opening product. As a quick note, since it's been asked for the last few sets, I'm not including the set booster only Commander cards in this list. While they are released in the set, I don't consider them in the main set. And they were designed for Commander, so naturally they're going to be good. Grab them regardless. First up are honorable mentions, starting with Mirror Box. I'm incredibly biased in mentioning this because my favorite personal deck is designed around making multiple copies of a legendary creature, but Mirror Box makes it easier than ever to start breaking game rules. The lowest mana value of the ways to ignore the legend rule, Mirror Box also functions like an anthem for legendary creatures and a coat of arms for multiple copies of a legendary creature. Break out the clones because I can see this puppy doing some work in the right shell. I know I've got a new brew coming up with it in the spotlight soon. Next up is the return of Shrines. People have been asking for more shrines, and while we only get them every few years, this set is fantastic. These shrines on a body, they have triggers you can pay for at the end of your turn, and scale well based on the number of shrines you have. We got the 5-color legendary Shrine Commander a lot of people have been asking for as well, so expect Shrine decks to be popping up often. It is important to note that Shrine is not a creature type, it's an enchantment subtype, meaning these Shrine creatures have no creature type. Remember that if you're making a Shrines deck, they're the tribe that technically doesn't exist, so you can't name Shrine on an Urza's Incubator, for instance. Taking a look at the top 5 in the set, we're starting with Lion Sash. This is the first spotlight of our reconfigure cards, creatures that turn into equipment and bestow an ability on their equipped creature. Inspired by the old Lycid creatures from decades ago, and by the bestow mechanic in the original Theros block, this hybrid of both is giving us plenty of new artifact creatures to play around with. Lion Sash is, in my opinion, the strongest entry of all of these. It's a white scavenging ooze. Lion Sash is repeatable graveyard removal on a stick. And unlike ooze, the Sash grows for each permanent exiled from a graveyard, not just creature cards. That ability alone would have been solid on a creature, but the fact you can equip it to another creature and make that creature beefy is excellent. The utility here is through the roof. Decks that care about cards leaving the graveyard, like Quintorius Field Historian, love this card added to their repertoire, along with any deck that wants to pump their commander's power and toughness. It is an excellent include in many lists moving forward. Next, we have Hidetsugu Devours All. This red and black saga was the feature of one of my shorts recently, linked up top, and I posit that it's far stronger than it looks on the surface. At its baseline, it's a board wipe for anything mana value 1 or less. That includes Soul Ring, tokens, and small creatures. The bane of decks that are low to the ground, it's just the value we get on cast. It does a lot more. The next verse on this saga exiles all graveyards, ours included. And graveyard removal is never a bad thing. Just be cautious of reanimation plans when this is around. And finally, on the third verse, we flip into Vessel of the All-Consuming, a 3/3 trampler that grows bigger the more damage it deals, and has a sweet alternate win con baked into it. Well, alternate lose condition, I suppose. If the vessel deals damage to someone and they've been dealt 10 or more damage by the vessel this turn, that player loses the game. This is very easy to achieve between combat tricks or ways to make creatures deal non-combat damage, because that condition is any damage. I immediately go to combat tricks like Tamer Battle Rage to give it double strike, meaning it only needs to be a 5/5 to take a player out, and spells like Chandra's Ignition that can make this hilariously big and clear the way for the elimination of a player. I'm sad this can't be your commander, but if you're in a deck that features red and black and is combat focused, I think this is a strong role player that demands inclusion. Third on our list is Kodama of the West Tree. 18 years in the making, this cycle is finally completed. We now have Kodamas for North, South, East, West, and Center trees. And the latest 2 Kodamas have been bangers, let me tell you. Kodama of the West Tree gives all modified creatures trample. Modified means anything that's enchanted, equipped, or with a counter on it. Good on its own. But the real heater is that whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you rampant growth, grabbing a basic and putting it in tapped. This is such a massive boon for decks that care about counters and combat damage and all that good stuff. Turning small creatures into ramp engines can slingshot you from 3 mana to 7 mana in the span of a single turn. Combine this with any commander that gives counters like a Torrens or Gave or Kazur and Okima, and you can make your entire team into ramp engines. The other benefit is using Kodama in combination with enchantments like Cathar's Crusade or Felidar Retreat that can put counters on your creatures. Retreat even doing it on landfall. These turn a creature or a land entering the battlefield into an enabler to make your whole board ramp you further and potentially grow all of your creatures too. That's ridiculously strong. Kodama may be a mythic, but any creature that's as good at the head of the deck as it is in the 99 is one to keep your eyes on. Next up, we have a shout out to all of the vehicles in the set. I found it hard to choose just one, but we've been starved for a good vehicle-heavy set since Kaladesh. Kaldheim touted vehicles but didn't deliver, and Kamigawa is here to say, hold my beer. From colored vehicles like Mindlink Mech, to Mukutai Soul Ripper, to Imperial Recovery Unit, we're not lacking for specific role fillers that now come on big artifact bodies and help us hype up tapping synergies. Add to this the incredible colorless vehicles that can go in any deck, Reckoner Bankbuster or Surge Hack Mech for instance, and you've got a viable, valuable way to draw cards or remove creatures attached to bodies that can dodge sorcery speed removal. Mech Titan Core, the vehicle that puts the Voltron in a Voltron deck, is going to be deck building goals for people for a long time to come. I'm not as thrilled with it as some people are, but it's cool to see synergies for going wide with vehicles, even if you have nothing to crew them with. I expect to see these vehicles dotted in decks looking for their fringe benefits, but being able to turn a 1-power creature into a 4-power creature with evasion below curve is super strong. More vehicles forever, please! And last up are the channel lands. I don't think many people will be too surprised by this pick. Many took a look at the new Boseiju and deemed it the strongest card in this or any format in a long time. The channel lands are amazing value, and I've always been a big advocate of spell effects on lands, even bad lands like those in Kaldheim. But these are phenomenal. Removal on a land or creating bodies at instant speed, all while being uncounterable? Sign me up. To add to the massive values, they all enter untapped and produce colored mana, so there's no reason not to run them as a straight 1-to-1 replacement for a basic land in any and every deck. I expect these to be format staples in Commander, Modern, and even Legacy for a long time to come. Snap them up if you can, they are really, really good. And remember, if you do want to snap up any of these cards, head on over to Hairy Tarantula and use my promo codes to get yourself some goodies and help support the channel. Let me know what you think about the set and what your pick is for best card in the set in the comments below. And as always folks, Good luck, and have fun.